It was 1:24 a.m. on a quiet March night in Boston, 1990. Two men dressed as police officers knocked on the door of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, claiming they were responding to a disturbance. Once inside, they handcuffed the security guards and disappeared into the gallery. By the time they walked out, they had stolen 13 works of art valued at over $500 million. They took masterpieces by Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Degas. Then they vanished. No alarms went off, no fingerprints were left behind, and despite a reward larger than any in history, not a single piece of the collection has been seen in over 35 years. How can some of the most famous paintings in the world simply disappear into thin air? Tonight, we dissect the chilling facts of the greatest art heist of all time. Immediate CDA. Subscribe to Mind 74. If you want to be the one to solve the riddles we uncover, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and turn on notifications. The adventure starts now. Story Star. Welcome, Mind 74 adventurers. Today in Dossier 52, we travel back to Boston, 1990. Imagine a grand, historic mansion filled with ancient, priceless treasures. This was the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a place that felt like a bridge to another time. But on that spring night, the piece of the museum was shattered by two men. They didn't break in with heavy machinery. They used a disguise that made them look like protectors of the law. The guards, believing they were dealing with the police, let their guard down. That moment of trust was the last mistake the museum would ever make. The thieves moved with the confidence of people who knew the building's layout perfectly. They knew exactly which paintings to cut from their frames and which ones were the most valuable. They spent 81 minutes inside, a lifetime in the world of professional theft. They systematically worked through the Dutch room, the short gallery, and the blue room. They even took the time to disable the security systems and destroy the tape recordings of their movements. When they finally left, they drove away into the dark, leaving the museum staff-bound and the walls hauntingly empty. The morning light revealed the scale of the disaster. The museum was missing priceless masterpieces that the world had loved for centuries. The frames were left hanging on the walls, empty, like hollow eyes staring back at the investigation team. The FBI arrived within hours, but the trail was already cold. This was not a crime of opportunity. It was a targeted operation. The thieves knew exactly what they wanted, and they took it without a struggle. This concludes our review of the initial heist and the beginning of a cold case that would baffle the world for decades. The investigation into the Gardner heist is recorded as one of the most complex puzzles in criminal history, marking a period where the FBI and local authorities struggled to find a single solid lead. Now, the museum became a crime scene that investigators would comb through for weeks. They analyzed every inch of the floor, the walls, and the discarded duct tape used to bind the guards. The transformation of a prestigious museum into a national headline is a study in calculated planning and absolute stealth. Legend says the heist was commissioned by a private collector, someone who wanted the paintings not for money, but for the sheer power of owning something that no one else could ever see. But the thieves weren't just taking art. They were dismantling history. They utilized the techniques they had learned during months of planning, creating a system that ensured their exit was as quiet as their arrival. But the heist wasn't just about the paintings. It was about the challenge. They knew that by taking these specific items, they would become the most wanted individuals on Earth. They moved with a surgeon's precision, cutting the canvases from their frames with razors, careful not to damage the delicate surfaces of the paint. They worked entirely alone, preserving the absolute integrity of their plan to ensure that no witnesses could identify them. They left a trail of questions that only a genius could follow, a path riddled with dead ends and misdirections. This behavior indicated a deep-seated need to secure their target, control the environment, and maintain their status as shadows. They worked quickly, knowing that every moment delayed increased the chance of discovery, but they were also calm, moving with a deliberate speed that suggested they had practiced this operation in their minds hundreds of times. They documented every single detail of the building's security in their plan, ensuring that they stayed hidden from the radar of the guards and the reach of the authorities. This was not a random or panic theft. It was a clinical, calculated operation designed to protect the assets for a specific future purpose. They utilized professional knowledge to ensure the escape was structured correctly, drawing on theories of structural logistics to build an exit strategy that would withstand the scrutiny of the FBI. The forensic analysis of the crime scene performed years later suggested they might have even used a unique communication code, making the motive statistically impossible to break without the final key. The world heard swirling rumors of the painting's location, but for the public, it remained nothing more than speculation. The museum kept the empty frames hanging, a haunting reminder of the loss. His ability to conceal the stash proved that the thieves were men who planned for every possible scenario. They ensured that the location of the art remained a permanent, haunting puzzle that future generations would struggle to solve. These men became the most elusive mystery in the art world, hiding their secrets in the very walls that had witnessed their success. The planning involved was meticulous, from the way they disabled the motion sensors to the way they vanished without a trace into the city streets. This concludes our review of the theft and the calculated beginning of the most enduring mystery in art history. The investigation into the missing Gardner paintings did not end with the first leads. It became a global obsession that lasted for over 35 years. Dozens of professional and amateur investigators dedicated their lives to solving the riddle of the empty frames, exploring every potential connection from Boston to the underworld of Europe. The authorities utilized the services of specialized art recovery experts and forensic intelligence to trace the canvases, but their efforts resulted in no definitive recovery. The police also considered the possibility that the paintings were destroyed, a final defiant statement created by someone who realized they could never sell them, but this was never confirmed. The search for the missing works became a national fascination, with citizens flooding the government with potential sightings and claims from individuals who reported seeing the art in private vaults. The investigators verified each tip, but they never discovered the location of the lost masterpieces. The case remained the most significant unsolved art theft in the history of the world. Modern detectives continue to utilize technology to search for clues, including DNA evidence found on the duct tape and the handcuffs used that night. They found small fibers and skin particles, but they could not verify if the thieves had left them. The mystery deepened as the years passed without a breakthrough. We honor the memory of the museum curators who dedicated their lives to this. The legacy of Dossier 52 is a lesson in the complexity of investigative mysteries and the potential for individuals to vanish without a trace. We are operating with a better understanding of the psychology behind these calculated decisions. We documented the full sequence of the mystery. This concludes our review of the endless search and the suspects like local gang members and high-end criminal syndicates. The search for knowledge regarding the location continues in the archives of history. The investigation into the Gardner heist remained an open file, a testament to the fact that some secrets are kept very well. We hold the memory of the masterpieces in the light of our research. The facts remain, and the record endures. The hunt for the truth has become a story of its own, woven into the fabric of Boston lore. Every generation brings new people who believe they have found a secret, only to find more questions and silence. It is a story about the power of belief, about why we are drawn to the idea of hidden treasures. The case files continue to circulate, and the obsession shows no signs of waning. Each new piece of technology brings a flicker of hope, but the masterpieces remain out of reach, their secrets buried deep under layers of time. We examine these failed attempts not to mock them, but to respect the sheer scale of the puzzle. It is a testament to the thieves' preparation that they managed to build a legacy that remains untouchable. The art world keeps its secrets well. For as long as the paintings remain lost, the legend of the Gardner heist will never die. We have explored the archives, listened to the theories, and walked the halls where the paintings once hung. This is the enduring power of the unknown. The story of the Gardner Museum heist is a wild ride full of dangerous turns that continues to challenge our understanding of art history and human mystery. It shows us that a single act of theft can change the world of culture forever, and it became a study in the complexity of criminal motivation. We look at this not just as a hunt for priceless paintings, but as a giant puzzle that teaches us to be curious about how we define history and legends. The truth remains in the records, waiting for those who study the facts. The legacy of Dossier 52 is a lesson in the resilience of human curiosity and the terrifying potential for mystery to endure. We are operating with a better understanding of the realities of museum security and the impact of systemic failure. We honor the memory of the countless individuals whose lives were dedicated to solving this riddle, whose stories are also recorded in the official archives. The Gardner legend stands as a definitive point in the history of international mystery. The world shifted in the aftermath of 1990. The archives are open, and the story continues to unfold as we look into the past. We remain satisfied that the investigation was as thorough as possible, but the mystery of the empty frames is one of the most enduring stories of our time. It serves as a study in how we define what is lost and what remains to be found. The truth regarding the perpetrator remains hidden in the records, waiting for those who continue to search. We leave the story here for the next generation of investigators. Never stop asking questions and never stop exploring the unknown. The world is waiting for your discovery. The search for knowledge regarding the paintings continues. They vanished in 1990, but their presence in the cultural record is permanent. The legacy of Dossier 52 will remain as a reminder of the fragility of the piece we often take for granted. We hold the memory of the masterpieces that were taken. Their story is more than just art. It is a warning about the choices we make and how those choices echo through the centuries. We have laid out the facts, the legends, and the enduring questions that keep us up at night. The case may be cold, but the fire of discovery still burns bright. As we move forward, let these lessons remind you that the world is bigger than we think, and there are always new stories waiting to be told. Whether you are a fan of history, mystery, or just a good old-fashioned crime story, the Gardner Heist provides everything you need to keep your mind active and your spirit adventurous. We have reached the final chapter of this dossier, but the book of history is never truly closed. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the halls of Boston's most famous museum. You have walked the path of the investigator, felt the weight of the mystery, and seen the impact of a crime that changed the art world forever. May your curiosity lead you to your own great discoveries, and may your own story be one worth telling. Final CD. Subscribe to Mind 74. If you reach the end, thank you for being the best adventurers out there. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a dossier. Comment below. If you were a detective, where would you start looking for the missing art? Share this video with your best friends and join the hunt. We'll see you at the next mystery. Keep exploring.